Cannabis Common Sense, the show that tells the truth about marijuana and the politics behind its prohibition.
Hello and welcome to another exciting edition of Cannabis Common Sense. Our show is a production of our nonprofit organization, the Hemp and Cannabis Foundation, and our affiliated political committee, the Campaign for the Restoration and Regulation of Hemp. We're here tonight to get you to legalize marijuana. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. Mr. Tim Pate's going to break into song any minute now, but before that, let's bring on the infamous Dancing Cannabis Leaves. Okay. Well, you know, this week we don't have a lot of other news because we are the news this week, but we'll be talking about that in just a minute. Tim, you're going to play a song for us tonight.
All right, I will.
For our edification. How was the Seattle Hemp Fest?
Oh, the Seattle Hemp Fest was an incredible event.
You got to open?
I got to open both days. I also got to play on the Sealy stage at 2 o'clock on Saturday afternoon, and I ended up on main stage right after the band, Alan White's band from Yes.
Boy, that's great. I'm a big Yes fan.
Me too. So I was on stage right after them giving away the guitar that we've shown on this show, and it had 100 signatures of everybody from, you know, all the bands and a lot of the speakers, and so, yeah, somebody, we gave it away to a gentleman who actually had, he had to prove to us his birthday. His name had an H in it, and his birthday was 420. The first one at the back of the door. And so by the time I got off stage, somebody was coming up and hollering at me, I'm the one, and we gave him a guitar up on stage. He was absolutely stunned.
All right.
But lucky birthday.
All right. So how was it in terms of attendance? You think it was about the same as last year?
By 3 o'clock on Saturday afternoon, there was 140,000 through the gate. So
about the same on Sunday?
It was. It started raining on Sunday morning early, and it rained, or Saturday night late, and it rained overnight. You know, just a spit all night long. And when I got up on stage and played my first song, by the time I was done with the first song, it stopped raining, and we went on with the show. So that's twice that's happened to me now, where I've been on stage opening when it was raining, and after I finished the first song, it had stopped raining. So, well,
I kind of think I might remember another year that happened.
Yeah, it has. It's happened several times.
What song have you got for us tonight?
I was going to play the song that I wrote about Jack Hare, one of my heroes, and it's called "The Emperor Wears No Clothes," or "Come Climb the Mountain with Me." Come climb the mountain with me, come see what we can see. Come climb the mountain with me, and then we will all be free. Some men are born to lead, and some men have a destiny. Some men plant the seed, and some men set it free. So come climb the mountain with me. Come see what we can see. Come climb the mountain with me, and then we will all be free. One man's voice was clear. One man said we must hear. One man heard the call, and his vision speaks for all. Open your eyes with me, and I'm sure that you will see. It's time for the world to know the emperor wears no clothes. Come open your eyes with me, and I'm sure that you will see. It's time for the world to know the emperor wears no clothes. It's time for the world to know the emperor wears no clothes. The emperor wears no clothes. The emperor wears no clothes.
Well, welcome to another edition of Cannabis Common Sense. We are going to be taking your live phone calls tonight, the 24th of August, at 503-288-4448. That's 503-288-4448. We're going to have a telephone interview with the founder and leader of Cannabis in Spokane, Washington, who's working on some hearings in Washington that they're having about setting, the Department of Health's having hearings across the state to set a limit on the amount of medical marijuana that patients can have. Right now, the law in Washington says they can have a 60-day supply. And so that's rather vague and nebulous, and it has led some counties to rule that patients can't grow any of their cannabis at all. So the legislature passed a bill. There's a number of hearings about that. Plus, we can talk to Darren about how the medicinal use of cannabis has improved his quality of life, as we see thousands of people who, in fact, it does improve their quality of life. How are you doing, Tim?
I'm good.
That was a neat segue. You were playing guitar and poof,
Ding.
You know, through the magic of television.
And this is live TV too.
It is. It is.
Sometimes it just works out. You don't make too much noise when you trip and fall.
It's a fact.
I know. That's true. Oh, where am I? I'm over here.
So you've been real busy this week preparing for, well, first of all, you were at the Seattle Hemp Fest all weekend.
Yes.
And then this week you've been representing our interests in getting the hemp stock through all the hoops and hollers, along with...
I've had a lot of good help. There have been a lot of people involved.
I know.
It's been my pleasure to coordinate that effort. And so I feel like the city is on our side now as well. I really mean that.
Good. That's a big change.
We've tried to go in with a complete cooperative effort on all the parts of all the people who are playing. Andrew has been instrumental in getting a lot of sign-offs this week. And David Bram has been helpful beyond belief in getting site plans and it's been
posters and handbills
and all the people last week at the Seattle Hemp Fest who from our group who were up there either on staff training in positions up there at the Seattle Hemp Fest or handing out handbills about our event, and explaining to the booth people, what we were doing and how many booths we had available, and so it was just a major effort that happened like that.
So what do you think the biggest draw at our Hemp Stock Festival is this year?
The biggest draw? Well, Tommy Chong is going to be there.
Tommy Chong.
And Tommy is he's a legend. What else can I say? Tommy's a legend. The herbivores will be there. And I am so thrilled about that.
Los Marijuanos.
I
really love Jim from the herbivores.
I got to hang out with them in Seattle. They were up there, and they were at the 420 or the march. They
went with us to the Million Marijuana March here in Portland.
That was wonderful.
They led a real wonderful charge.
They did. I agree.
They're great.
And
they have harmonies and rap. It seems they cross.
They're my favorite rap group.
And they're not just rap though. I mean,
agree.
Their harmonies are pretty good too. They're a cappella. I like their Marijuana Man instead of what is that on?
What impressed me was last year when the power went out. They just kept right on.
That's
the crowd. They never lost the crowd for a second.
They don't need the power.
They didn't need. They had the power.
Right. Hey, we have a caller.
Was different, but
Let's see what our caller has to say. Hello, caller. You're on the show.
Hello?
Yes.
You hear?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
We can hear you.
Okay. My question is, the summer we've been having is kind of cool. Is that going to affect the outside plants at all?
It won't have a negative effect on them, really. Cannabis is indigenous to the high Himalayan mountains of Central Asia. And so it's used to very cool temperatures, cold nights, lots of ultraviolet radiation. It's perfect for, a planet whose ozone is thinning. And so I think it'll do just fine.
What about the rain in the buds?
Rain is not good. What you want to do on rainy days is go and shake that rain off there as soon as it's falling. And on dewy mornings, and we have really dewy mornings in the fall, or late summer, early fall around here, you want to do the same thing. Go out there and just kind of give it a little shaking and get the moisture out of the buds, and that'll help a lot.
Great. Well, thank you very much. Bye.
You're welcome. Yeah, mold is a problem. It's a problem in just about any climate, but of course if there's rain and you've got a big vegetative mass there,
true.
Mold tends to move forward. It's inevitable you get a little bit anyway.
And most gardens are going to have it.
I've seen it really bad in Switzerland, back when cannabis was legal in Switzerland from 98 to 2002. The way it works in Switzerland is when they get enough signatures on an initiative petition, and they invented the initiative petition. They had it about 50 years before we got it here in Oregon in 1902. They had it in 1858. Anyway, their initiative petition goes into effect for 5 years, and then they vote on it, and it lost with just 48% of the vote in favor.
It's a sad thing.
Yeah, but
I think it's a conspiracy of the cheese people. They're
the
ones that
American
most of the mold.
Government spent millions of dollars in supporting parent groups in Switzerland in those years, and the Office of National Drug Control Policy gave them a lot of advertising dollars.
They certainly do.
They did. They gave the Swiss opposition some money, but that still didn't seem to matter. Well, you can see there is a list of conditions for medical marijuana. And there's chronic pain, nausea, AIDS, glaucoma, IBS, seizure and spastic disorders like MS or epilepsy, gastric disorders like IBS or Crohn's disease, asthma, GERD, hepatitis C, all kinds of things, including cancer. And so if you or a loved one have one of those conditions, and we have doctors all across the western United States who can help you get a medical marijuana permit. Whether you're watching us in Denver, Seattle, Portland, or anywhere else out there on the internet, we can help you also in California, Oregon, Washington, Hawaii, Nevada, and Colorado. So give us a call for a physician referral in Portland, 503-235-4606. That's 503-235-4606. Up in Seattle, the number is 206-878-1701. That's 206-878-1701. In Denver, the Denver number is 303-403-9996. There it is, 303-403-9996. And if you're outside of the Portland, Seattle, or Denver metropolitan areas, then you can call us toll-free at 1-800-723-0188. We just recently got back from Hawaii, myself, where we processed 100 new patients for the medical marijuana program. We did our first clinic on the island of Kauai, and we had a tremendous response. We had 2 full days where we helped about 75 people just on that island alone.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah, it was a lot of work and a lot of travel and a lot of sleepless nights. But
we were busy back here.
I know you have been.
You should hear some of the speakers we're going to have.
Let's hear it.
Madeline Martinez is going to speak.
Yes.
We've asked you to come and speak.
I'm going to talk.
Imagine
that.
Of your choice.
I'm going to talk about a couple things.
Good. We also know that Vivian McPeak is going to come.
All right.
I'm really
the main MC for the Seattle Hemp Fest, the world's largest pro-marijuana
I'm very pleased
protest.
about him. A gentleman who also started the Cannabis College over in Amsterdam will be there speaking. We've got a lot of different groups that will be represented, a lot of nonprofits that will be coming. And so if you're a nonprofit and you haven't been in touch with us about hemp stock yet, we'd love for you to call us at the office and let us know, because we know we're going to have some booze available for nonprofits.
Right. We always do need to vendor booth sales, so if you're out there and you think you might have a item to vend at our event, then call Sylvia at 503-235-4606. That's 503-235-4606, and we'll be working hard on that. You can see some nifty hemp milk. That is the chocolate hemp milk. This is quite tasty. That's from Living Harvest, the hemp product of the week, anyway. But fellow just brought me this nifty little sign talking about how we should each tell 5 friends about what we're trying to do. And if you tell 5, and those 5 tell 5, and those 5 tell 5, and finally those 5 tell 5 more, you're going to get up within 5 turns of, what is it, 15,625 people?
Now, what I really want to have happen along with this is that all of those people tell them to ride their bicycles and walk and bring their boats down the river and use the bus, because the traffic is going to
skateboard.
The skateboard is wonderful.
But be careful on the hills.
Rollerblades, great. The train, there's a train road goes right past us. Please, horses are acceptable. If you do come in a car, bring 12 people with you. You know I'm exaggerating, but the parking is going to be really at a premium there. So we want to make certain that everybody is provided for, and we know Oaks Park is right up the road from where the event's going to be, but it is going to be, we're working with everybody we can to make certain that everything flows smooth. There's a bunch of weddings in the neighborhood as well, we walked over the park today, Andrew and I did, and it's just a beautiful setting, and so I'm truly looking forward to being able to produce a show there. We're going to have a lot of people, a lot of good speakers, a lot of bands. The State of Jefferson from Southern Oregon's coming.
When they were at the Seattle Hemp Fest, we kind of got them in there.
I know. Binky and the Seventh Seal is going to be there. Late Night Freakout Odyssey is coming. I mean, we could go on, and we will over the next few weeks. There's a lot.
We have a phone call here. Hello, caller. You're on the show.
Hi. I have 2 questions for you guys.
Okay.
My first question is, I'm a card holder, and we're going to be growing at our home, and I was wondering, when you have children that live with you, what are the laws against that, or...
Well, you know, the laws aren't real specific when it comes to medical marijuana and children. However, we've established a system of safeguards that we think make it pretty bulletproof. What you should do is put a locked door between your children and your cannabis, and leave any cannabis under lock and key. Never use cannabis in the presence of your children.
Oh, no.
And if you're going to smoke, probably it's best to try that outside or in a room that the children don't regularly access. And maybe you want to try vaporization instead of smoking. It's a lot healthier for you, and it doesn't smell up your environment. In fact, with the bag method, by which the Volcano fills up a bag, or several others out there fill up a bag, you know, there is no secondhand smoke.
Oh,
the Pink Elephant vaporizer, for instance, has a bag.
Nice. And my second question for you guys is, when you have root rot, how far until it's too late, until you need to just chop your plants down?
If you have what? Root rot?
Yes.
Root rot, yeah.
When it starts wilting, you better chop that puppy down.
When it starts to wilt?
Yeah.
Okay. And do you know, like, how many...
And try to dry it out first.
Okay. Dry it out completely, and then...
Let the soil dry mostly out. Not completely, but the top should feel dry, and there still should be a little bit of moisture in the bottom. The bigger your plant is in a smaller container, if you have a little plant in a big container, it's going to take a while to dry out, and it doesn't need to be watered hardly at all. But if you have a big plant in a little container, it doesn't take long for it to dry out, half a day.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Hope that helped. Yeah, cultivating cannabis is always problematic. There are ups and downs. You never know what... It's farmers, all farmers...
I was just going to throw that in, farming.
Yep.
It's just farming.
It is.
How's your crop this year there, Jeb?
Just hope the locusts don't come and eat it.
Oh, my goodness.
Or the deer get into it.
Oh, that would do it.
Or the police chop it down.
There's a critter that you don't want near your farm.
The police get to it, you don't want them to chop it down at least. If you got a permit, then you've got a good chance they won't. But otherwise, once they get into it, things are just about over.
Well, that's the nice thing about the system we have here in this state. It's required of the police to call the system and ask, is this address that I'm about to serve a search warrant on, is it actually a legal registered, grow site? And if it is, they are supposed to change their tactics.
See, we can do that in Oregon and in Colorado, Hawaii, other states that have a state permit system like Montana.
Right.
But in Washington and California, there isn't a central agency to call. Counties in California, the health agency have now set up a system, but not all the counties have adhered to it.
Yeah, they need to make some changes in Washington, serious changes.
So we think this bill is a big step toward that, and there's a series of hearings we're going to talk to Darren McRae about in just a little bit. But we do have another caller. Hello, caller. You're on the show.
Hello, is that me?
Hello.
Hi. This is Chad. I've called before. I've been a card holder since the beginning.
Turn that TV down because it's hard to hear you.
I don't have it on at all.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know what the background noise is then.
Okay. Make sure.
Don't be quiet. What is it? How can we help you, Chad?
Hello?
Hello?
We can hear you, barely.
Okay. I was just saying I've been a card holder since the beginning. I use a wheelchair to get around. I wanted to treat myself to a day at Hempstock, and I have about 4 hours I'll be able to be up. Which day should I choose to come?
Well, I would think Saturday from about 4 o'clock to 8 o'clock is going to be a real highlight.
4 to 8, did you say?
Yeah. Saturday from 4 to 8, you'll be there till it gets, a little bit, till the sun starts going down a little bit. You'll be able to get out before it gets real dark.
Yeah. Is there any kind of transportation being organized for people in wheelchairs?
The city bus is doing that, and then here in Portland anyway, there's a bus system where you can call and have them come pick you up and drop you off for a nominal fee. I think it's just about $1.50 or something.
We're also going to work on some other solutions because we need to have some type of cars going back and forth.
Yeah,
I'm
shuttle.
thinking the shuttle. I know that. There was
shuttle.
a word. I couldn't find it. Shuttle.
You're in a muddle about the shuttle.
I was, but now I'm clear.
Cool.
I could go on, but let's not. It's important. So you bring up a very good point. This park has got a really gentle slope. It's a lot more disabled friendly
than the park we were at
for the last 2 years.
We were in the bowl, the biggest bowl in Portland.
Yes.
At the south end of Portland's waterfront park.
There's a name for it.
Now next year we want to be at the north end.
We want to be on the flat waterfront.
We want to be up at Tom McCall. We want to be up by the Burnside Bridge. There's some construction there. We kind of got cheated out of our space by the Parks Department this year.
Well, we are where we are now. So we are where we are now.
We are what we are, and we are.
But it is a friendlier environment for disabled. I myself walk with a cane. I've walked over this property several times. There's pathways that are really nice pathways all around the property. A good view of the river. It's a nice park. I think the biggest issues we're going to face are parking, but the park itself is beautiful, and it's in a really nice setting, and the trees are giving us nice shade, and I think the environment will really be good. We've already got some booths signed up, and so we're moving along, and we want you there.
Right. Well, hopefully you'll be there. It's going to be at Portland's Sellwood Riverfront Park, and that is on September 8th and 9th, Saturday the 8th and Sunday the 9th. On Saturday the 8th, it's going to be from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Sunday the 9th, it'll be from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And, of course, our biggest excitement is that Tommy Chong's going to be there. So that's unusual.
It is. I've been going to and playing hemp fests since 1991. And Tommy Chong has never appeared at a hemp fest before.
Well, we can thank the ACLU for finally helping us put this thing on, because the city definitely was not going to allow us to do this till the ACLU of Oregon threatened to sue them. And that made a big difference in their attitude. It's amazing what they can do to them.
It really did. It helped when we went in.
From we don't want to talk to you to, oh, yeah, all right, you can have it.
That's true. They did. In fact, the first conversation I had personally with the city, I think it was mentioned on their part, freedom of speech, maybe 20 times in the conversation. They wanted to make certain that I understood. They heard us. This is a freedom of speech concert. And it's very important to us, and that we're basing on that. So
we have
if you come expecting to smoke out, don't, because this is not what this is about. This is a freedom of speech event. And
it's about ending adult marijuana prohibition, restoring industrial hemp, and helping medical marijuana patients, which is what the Hemp and Cannabis Foundation, or THCF, is all about. There is another caller. Hello, caller. You're on the show.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, Paul.
Yes.
Hi. Okay. Hi. My name is Rita, and I just wanted to say that I love the show. We moved here from the East Coast a couple of years ago, and it was really exciting to have this information because I never thought of it in quite the way I do now. We, advocate for so much more of it being legal. But what I want to ask you about is the illnesses that are covered under the medical marijuana. How does that come to be? Because many years ago, when I was a young woman, I was diagnosed with PMS, and they wanted to give me Valium and all kinds of things that I wasn't going to take, and I found that cannabis was very helpful. It's a very small amount during that period of time right before my period would be just like perfect and work beautifully, and I think that there are so many other things that it could be used for.
Well, you're absolutely right. I'm just amazed at the science that comes out every week on medicinal cannabis. There are recent studies showing it helps osteoporosis and stops the advancement of osteoporosis, which is the breakdown of your bone tissue. And they're finding more and more things all the time. But PMS was one of the traditional things for which cannabis was prescribed before it was prohibited in the 1930s.
Really?
In fact, Queen Victoria in England was prescribed. She's the definition of being, a prude in our vocabulary, Victorian, and she was prescribed cannabis and used cannabis for PMS. And let me ask you just a couple of questions, though.
Okay.
When you have a bad episode, is nausea part of that?
Is what a part of that?
Is nausea a part of your reactions?
Well, I don't have PMS anymore. I've gone through menopause.
Oh, okay.
And also
but back in the day.
But how I used it with PMS was during my, I had really bad mood swings and cramping and...
cramping.
That's painful. And cramping. And that's when I used it. And I used it it was such a small amount would just do it for me, where they were giving me medications that just threw me into, because they didn't have at the time, they only had natural progesterone, and the only way that you could take it was either anally or vaginally, and so there was no way for it to go through your blood and keep your blood regulated, so it would all of a sudden it would be out and you'd go berserk. So I found that was the thing that really helped me the most. And then again used it during menopause. But I also have arthritis, so I'm covered with that. But I just thought that, is there something that I could do to advocate for it? Because there are so many women that I know, just...
Well, there are a number of women that have received it. There's a term, and I'm not medically trained, so it doesn't come to me off the top of my head, having to do with severe... PMS problems. And I do know that a lot of doctors who specialize in medical marijuana have approved it for women with that condition when they have medical charts that back up their condition, that show that they've received numerous other treatments that haven't worked, and cannabis does. There are several doctors out there who are willing to help women in that situation get a medical marijuana permit based on... It can be chronic pain, muscle spasms, or nausea.
Yeah, I'm not hearing you too well.
Oh, okay. Well, it is currently recommended for women who have severe PMS symptoms that include chronic pain, like in cramping, nausea, and spasms.
Okay, that's great. The other thing that I wanted to say, if I have a little bit more time, I just wanted to say that one of my favorite things when you have on the show, and that for me the education of was when you show the film.
Yeah.
And also I love when you have the antique bottles and all of that.
Yeah.
I think that's such a
I just didn't have time to grab them tonight. I just got in on a red-eye flight last night from Hawaii. I set up, you know how you do those red-eye flights? I got aboard in Honolulu at 8:30, got into L.A. at about 5 a.m. and in Portland at 9 a.m. and was busy in the office all day.
We went to the HempFest last year. It was our first year living here, and we were just like totally enchanted. And one more thing, because I think this is interesting. Do you think that the show Weeds is helpful or not helpful?
Funny. I think it can be both ways. The way it's portrayed on Weeds, I guess it leads to greater acceptance that they're talking about people growing cannabis. There are a lot of things in there that aren't particularly helpful, but overall I think it's pretty funny and outrageous.
Yeah, I like it too. Okay, well, I just want to tell you you're doing a great job, and I appreciate the advice on the PMS.
All right, glad to do it. Thanks for your call. A lot of interesting questions.
All right,
and
bye-bye.
We hope to see you at the Hempstock Festival at Selwoods Riverfront Park on Saturday the 7th and Sunday the 8th. All right, now we have a film clip now. This is from the Seattle Hemp Fest. I think we have Wavy Gravy here. We can thank Sky High Productions for this video. And
this might be Oregon Country Fair. It's Wavy Gravy.
Oh, well, let's see.
Well, let's find out.
Here we go.
After we ran the pig for president in 1968, in 72, we were running a turtle. Kesey said if the turtle lives long enough, I'll vote for him. The turtle was assassinated by this amazing rock from the base of Mount Ararat that I got this Tibetan gentleman to carve in the face of the rock. And, of course, running a rock for president, you run a roll for vice president, and at different rallies, we pass out different rolls, like jelly rolls and cinnamon rolls and bagels, and so you could always eat the vice president as the roll kept changing. Yeah, you can't eat him anymore. He doesn't exist, except he does. And he's poisonous. I'd spit him out. Cannibals don't eat clowns because they taste funny. Everybody knows that. I enjoy being a clown. Let's talk about, nobody for president, right. So, I spaced the rock out in a taxi cab coming out of a recording session. I had been in one room listening to tape running backwards for 2 days, and I just left the rock in a taxi. And there was a big article in the Village Voice, have you seen the rock on WBAI? Looking for the rock, nobody's got the rock. I am in deep doo-doo. When? Up the spinal telegraph. Nobody. Nobody's perfect. Nobody keeps all campaign promises. Nobody should have that much power. Yes. We all got into it. We became, we changed our bus from, nobody won. The nobody won, because they had the Air Force won, we had the nobody won, and if nobody wins, nobody loses. and we'd have these great rallies where we'd have a lot of rock and roll, and then nobody would show up in an open convertible. And we used clicking teeth on a pillow as a symbol of nobody, and now nobody will speak. Click, 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 click. And all these TV guys are pushing each other to get better shots of it. And we're doing, and I go to Kansas, where the Republicans are in the Kempner Arena, and I got to buy out every red rubber nose in Kansas and Missouri and place it on the under-the-counter culture, and the cops could not club the clowns on the color TV. I'm approached by a member of the press, John Bryant, of Open City. He had credentials and he had to go somewhere else far away. So he gave me his laminate to get into the World Press booth. So I put on a three-piece suit out of Goodwill, usually reserved for Halloween, and went inside, and I'm typing up all these nobodyisms. Nobody lowered your taxes, for God's sake. Nobody was president before George Washington. I tell the Native Americans I really empathize, but nobody was here first. And all the press is getting hot on this. Look, there's nobody here. Look at that. And I call it in, get the story, and then I'm spotted by this plainclothes Kansas City cop who calls the FBI and the Secret Service. And they spin me around and thrust me into what I like to call Lenny Bruce curtain call. Start patting me down, and this officer feels this bulge in my pocket. He says, "Is that a gun?" And I whip it out, and the teeth are clicking in my hand. I says, "Quiet, our leader is speaking." This is the truth. He rolls his eyes, he gives me back the teeth, he says, "Get out of here, you're too weird to arrest."
All right, that was Wavy Gravy at the Oregon Country Fair.
Yeah.
And I remember way back in 1986 when we had the Oregon Marijuana Initiative on the ballot. Just 2 nights before the election, we had a big concert here in downtown Portland at the Starry Night Theater. I think it's called the Roseland now. But Wavy was the MC that night. I remember the Dinosaurs were the headliners.
Oh, wow.
And it was a pretty neat show. And Wavy's been, well, he was at Woodstock, the original Woodstock. So maybe it would be appropriate to have him come to Hempstock someday.
We should. He's too weird to arrest, so
I
he
know.
fit right in.
That's right. That's right. I think we have Mr. Darren McCrae on the phone from Cannabis. Hello,
Okay.
Darren. Can you hear me? Hello, Darren.
Darren, are you there?
Darren, we are trying to reach out and touch you. No. Well, let's keep trying. Who knows?
Modern science is an...
You know, this is a volunteer show.
Pickled
That's what
mistress.
I always tell everybody. You and I are volunteers.
Yes.
And we are just a small part of this. There's about 10 people behind the cameras, and I don't know, maybe 15 or 20. Darren, are you there?
Hello?
Darren, where are you?
I'm here, my brother. Can you hear me?
Bro, you're here.
You're on live TV.
Oh, man.
In
it's
Portland.
good to be here.
Soon to be on the internet. You'll be on the internet by tomorrow. So how's it going in Cannabis, in Spokane?
Well, let me tell you, Cannabis comes from the word Spokane, which is a word from the Spokane Indian Reservation, the Spokanee, which means children of the sun. Like the plant is a child of the sun. The sun produces vitamin D. It helps the plants grow. My name's Dan. I'm jumping up as vitamin D. I help the plants grow.
You certainly do. I remember visiting you here recently. You were helping them grow.
That's right, brother.
You've done a lot there to establish medical marijuana in your community, helping a lot of different people. And there's a hearing coming up here on, September 11th. That's a Tuesday on medical marijuana, and that's a result of Senate Bill 6032 up there that passed, and Governor Gregoire in Washington signed into law. And there's a series of hearings across the state. You want to tell us a little bit about those?
Yeah, what that is, again, that is Senate Bill 6032. What that says, the Department of Health shall adopt rules defining the quantity of marijuana that could reasonably be presumed to be a 60-day supply for qualifying patients. This presumption may be overcome with evidence of a qualifying patient's necessary medical use. So that's one of the issues we're talking about. There's 3 main issues. What a 60-day supply is, what an actual caregiver's role is, and And here the Department of Health shall gather information from medical and scientific literature, consulting with experts and the public, and reviewing the best practices of other states regarding access to an adequate, safe, consistent, and secure source, including alternative distribution systems of medical marijuana for qualifying patients. The department shall report its findings on all three of these issues to the legislature by July 1st, 2008. Mm-hmm. So what we're trying to do right now is come up with what we feel a 60-day supply here in Washington State should be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's obviously different for different patients.
My opinion,
but we've got to take the upper end of the limit to be that. Now, if you look at the federal government, they give marijuana to 7 patients across the United States, including Elvie Masica, who lives here in Oregon and is working, I think, as chief petitioner on an upcoming initiative they're working on. But they give Elvie and the other 6 medical marijuana program people in the compassionate use program from the federal government a total of 6 pounds a year. So that would be, a pound would be defined as a 60-day supply by the federal government in that regard. Mm-hmm. Does that seem like the upper limit to you, Darren?
Well, I think I think that's a good number. You know, the minimum I think that we should have is 3 pounds in 60 days, and every 60 days, and the reason that
that would be for ingestion.
That we should be able to have 3 pounds in our
possession,
in our hands at one time.
Yeah.
Is maybe we don't need it for a whole 60-day supply, but a lot of these patients, as you know, down in Oregon as well as up here in eastern Washington, maybe some of them it's too hot to grow indoors in the summertime, or they don't have the resources, so they grow outside.
Right.
And they have to grow their whole crop during the summer for their whole year.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do for my patients.
Yeah, so if you're going to do that, you need to have an excess amount to be able to subside you through the winter. And I feel that a minimum of an ounce a week per patient, that would be a half a pound every 60 days. Would that be 3 pounds?
3 pounds. Which is half what the federal government supplies. The federal government supplies patients with twice that amount.
Yes.
And they only do it to 7 people, though. But that's what, they came to that limit through some consideration, I take it. They didn't just pull it out of thin air, I hope. But I want to why don't we talk about you, Darren? Medical marijuana has made a big difference in your life. You've been able to get off numerous drugs to control your seizures and spasms. And you're a Native American, too. You're with the Colville and the Spokane tribe and grew up there. And so what different pharmaceutical drugs were you taking before you started using cannabis?
On the Spokane Indian Reservation, I guess I didn't say that, but I grew up on the Spokane Indian Reservation for 30 years. And I had a bit of a drug and alcohol problem until I was 25. And some friends of mine was about ready to lose their kids, and they were being taken off the reservation. And I asked my parents if they would take them. And the youngest one was 2 years old. And at that time, I looked at the situation and knew I'd either be a good example or a bad example. So I walked away from all the drugs and alcohol, and I was clean for 2 years. Until one day I was standing like there was nothing wrong with me. I picked 120 pounds up or more. I was bucking bales, throwing them over my head, 120-pound bales. But one day I was standing there, and my middle finger on my left hand locked down for 6 weeks. Within 3 months, I couldn't lift my left arm over my shoulder. I couldn't lift a toilet seat with one hand. At the end of that 3 months, I couldn't walk. Mm-hmm. My wife had to bring me a bucket so I could pee in it. I would drench the bed so bad with night sweats that we had to keep a blanket underneath the sheets, and we'd have to flip that blanket 3 times during the night because of how bad I was drenching the bed. They told me I had an autoimmune disease. Thought it was MS or something like that, but it is rheumatoid arthritis, which is not arthritis. It's an autoimmune disease. And so they put me on 3 medications, and which they give cancer patients and MS patients, and one of them is prednisone, which is an anti-inflammatory. The other is methotrexate, which a lot of people might know about prednisone, and they kind of cringe when they hear about it, but methotrexate's maybe 10 times worse than prednisone. Mm-hmm. And then they put me on painkillers, and the painkillers strung me out. I was going to 2 different doctors, taking almost 200 painkillers a month, when a friend of mine from the res said, you need to look at weed. I said, I give that up as a kid. He said, you ought to take another look. So I went to my doctor, and my doctor told me, Dan, it's as strong as an anti-inflammatory as prednisone. It's as strong as an immune stabilizer as methotrexate, and it's a painkiller. I was able to walk away from all 3 of those medications 5 years ago. And I've been taking care of myself the best I could. I knew everybody on my reservation, 650,000 acres across from the Cobble Indian Reservation, which is 1.4 million acres, and I pretty much knew.
Uh-oh, we lost him.
Maybe we'll get him back on the air.
I hope so.
Darren's doing a lot of good work. He's helped.
He has. I've known him for many years myself because he's spoken at a lot of events I've been at over the years.
And he's been at the the Seattle Hemp Fest on a number of occasions.
He's come and spoken at Hemp Stock
and
as
the closing. Yeah, he was here to last year's Hemp Stock Festival. I think this year he's gearing up for the hearings that are just taking place the following week. So
I know others in Washington are doing the same.
He's going to make it this year.
It's very important.
And he's a very ill man, but he helps hundreds of patients up there and giving them a network to get medical marijuana authorized and get medical marijuana gardens going and exchange clones. He's doing great work, and so we're happy to support that work, and he supports our work. So it's a mutual admiration society.
Very good.
So we can thank him for that.
Well, Darren, we lost you, but we still love you.
Yeah, I'm sure he knows that. So if you're out there and you have a question for us tonight, well, we got less than 10 minutes left. We can get a couple calls in there at 503-288-4448. That's 503-288-4448. And that is the number you should call if you're watching on Friday night, August 24th, 2007. If it's not Friday night, then you're probably not going to get through. But
maybe not.
Who knows where you get through to.
It's a lot been going on. There really has been a lot going on, and I'm really grateful for all the good help we've got.
We've all of our core organizers have been very, very busy since the ACLU turned this thing around for us, and it has brought out a bigger response perhaps than in past years. And I think we're going to overwhelm that park down there.
I know that,
but we'll see.
That I'm certain of.
And then that will definitely speak to having a larger venue in following years.
They already realize we need that.
Yeah,
I've scared them, I'm afraid.
Well, good.
Just give them the reality of what happened on Waterfront Park last year and transfer it to the park they've given us this year, and we know we're going to fill that park.
Yeah. Well, we had, I thought, priority on Waterfront Park, but...
we'll have it next year.
Yeah, I hope so. If not, we'll find someplace else.
We've asked 100 times now since then. So hopefully we'll be able to pull that off. But for now, we're going to have a great show in a pretty park. So.
And the big news is we've got Tommy Chong lined up to be the MC.
Yep.
That's going to be a definite draw, I believe.
I do too.
And who knows who we'll have next year. Maybe Cheech will show up. We'll have Cheech and Chong out there. That'd be cool.
I know Willie Nelson has said that he's going to show up for next year's Hemp Fest in Seattle.
I haven't heard that. That's good news.
Yes.
That's exciting. Things are changing for us. If you want to be part of that change, or you want to get involved in the movement to end adult marijuana prohibition, or you know someone out there that needs help with medical marijuana, we have doctors across the western United States that can help. You can call us at our Portland referral line. That is 503-235-4646. 503-235-4606. Once again, it's 503-235-4606. If you're up in Seattle, that number is 206-878-1701. That's 206-878-1701. If you're watching anywhere in Colorado, you can call our Denver office at 303-403-9996. That's 303-403-9996. And SAFER has a new petition out there to change the laws in the city of Denver. They already voted to legalize it a couple of years ago, and now they're going to try to make the marijuana laws even better. Now, if you want to reach our office for that medical marijuana referral, we have a toll-free number as well. It's right there on your screen. It's 1-800-723-0188. 800-723-0188. We have another caller on the line. Hello, caller. You are on our show. Hello, caller. Can you hear us? We can't hear you in the studio.
Can't hear you.
Well, that happens sometimes. Hey, there's the conditions for which medical marijuana can be useful. And so it goes.
Yes, it does.
Okay, let's try this again. Is caller there? Hi.
Hi, Paul.
Darren, you're back.
Okay, yeah, I can't hear you very good, but yeah, I'm here, Paul.
All right, we were just saying that we had lost you, but we're welcome back. We're just down to about 3 minutes left.
Okay, so where I was at was I was walking. So did I tell you? So basically, this man came to me and did I tell you that where the cannabis replaced the prednisone and methadone?
Yeah, we got to that stage, and you replaced it.
So this man came to me. His wife was dying of cancer.
Uh-huh.
And he said, "Please help me." She's walking around our house with the bag and everything the doctors have tried to suppress her nausea and to stimulate her appetite is not working. If you don't help us, they're going to put her back in the hospital, and that's the last we'll ever see of my wife. So I pushed a piece of medicine across the table to him, and I said, "Have her try this." He looks at me, and he says, "We're deacons in our church. I'm a Southern Baptist minister. We've never been around this kind of stuff before. What do we do with it?" So I slid across one of my smoking apparatuses to him, and I said, "Have her try this." And he called me back crying several hours later saying, "Please, I'll do this for my wife." A half hour after she smoked this, she was able to have an appetite, and she was able to keep it down.
All right.
So I showed him how to get an authorization from his doctor. And he asked his doctor, "Where do I get my medicine?" He said, "You either got to grow it or you got to go and find it." And he went to tell him his story. "I'm a deacon in my church, and I can't go looking for it, and I can't grow it. It takes 3 to 4 months to grow this plant. My wife will be dead in that time." So he came back to me, and asked for my help. I supplied his wife with medicine. For the last 4 months, she lived at home. She died the last 2 weeks of her life in the hospital. That's when I made a decision in my life. I said it's morally unacceptable to force our sick and dying into the streets to scrounge for their medicine. So I opened up Cannabis, dedicated to providing safe access to Spokane and Washington State's sickest and dying citizens.
And you've been doing that, helping thousands of folks there in your community and doing a lot of outreach as well. You've been at parades and...
Part of it is, one of the reasons I'm helping these people is because of you. I looked, all these people were coming to me trying to get help from doctors, and I was having a hard time getting them doctors because we just can't get enough doctors for all these people. And I was sending a lot of people over to Spokane, and you saw the need, and you and Dr. Orville have been filling that need here in Spokane, and Spokane appreciates you guys.
And we appreciate you, and I know all those patients really find your help and your organization invaluable in helping get their garden going. But you know what? We're coming down to our last minute, so we're going to have to close out. So I want to thank you, Darren, for coming on the line and telling your story on our show. I look forward to seeing you next month.
And nothing but love and appreciation for the whole organization.
All right. Thank you, Darren.
Peace to you guys.
Peace to you too, man. Hang in there. See ya. Well, we're just about out of time this week. Mr. Tim Pate has assumed his role as musical troubadour, and he'll be ending in song in just a moment. I want to urge you to come to the Portland Hempstock Festival. That is, let's get the dates right this time, the 8th and 9th. That's a Saturday, the 8th, Sunday, the 9th of September 2007. We'll have more. Check out our ad in next week's Willamette Week. Stay tuned. Help us restore hemp. And you want to take us out, Tim? Sure. All right. Thank you, sir.